Trust but verify. Now, early on in my career, working in customer service, I learned the slogan fairly quickly that the customer is always right. I, after training, I learned that people can sound super confident and still be very wrong. Customers would mention loopholes, or they would say things and I could hear the actual gaps in what they were saying, like, and knew that they weren't true. The problem was I had very good instincts, but I could never explain why. Like, I would know when something sounded off, but I didn't have the vocabulary for things like fallacies, to explain to anyone, and look to adequately ask for help or explain myself. Now, through work, life experiences, and my participation in classes like Introduction to Logic and Critical Thinking, I've learned how to put names and accurate definitions, like being able to define what those interactions and conversations are. Today, I'm going to demonstrate that growth through three of the concepts that I've learned about: hasty generalizations, appeals to authority, and slippery slope arguments, and the slippery slope fallacy. First, I want to talk about hasty generalizations. I have worked in management for a while at this point, and while hiring people, I find that experienced members at companies typically make hasty generalizations about every demographic possible. And just being who I am able to point that out, but I'm so glad now that I am able to let them know what that does for us as a whole, as a team, and how we can adjust and be more open minded. The definition of a hasty generalization is when somebody makes a broad conclusion with very little evidence. So, making a large claim about a person, place, or thing just based on their limited interactions or observations of it, which is not very helpful, not for the group at least. Now, typically, I would have just grouped that together under the word like discrimination or something, but I'm glad now that I have something more accurate that doesn't sound as harsh or triggering for people. But that being said, I've always known how to feel that something was wrong, and not having the language for it kind of limited my ability to accurately fix or redirect when things were going downhill, especially with things like hasty generalizations. The second concept that improved my critical thinking skills was the appeal to authority. So, appeal to authority is when somebody says something and people just assume it's true just because of how important or influential the person is that said it. This one was really cool to do and learn about because the application assignment number 5, I was able to have a live um, activity, and I was learning about it and experiencing it in real time online, with someone trying to use who they were as a means of expertise for a very broad um, a very broad topic. Super grateful that I have always been one to ask why and just inquire further to make sure we're identifying all loopholes, all possibilities of a scenario, including who said it and why they're saying it, any type of influence they have, any type of biases they may have. That all comes in handy in my line of work. Typically, I would find myself just asking why, like why this, why that, but now I can ask specifically what evidence you have that's supporting what you're saying. Is the person that's speaking or the person that we're inquiring about, do they have the expertise that we need before they come in and give us their opinion on it? I'm able to ask deeper questions that are more accurate to that fallacy specifically. Overall, it has made me a better listener and a more effective professional. And the third concept is the slippery slope fallacy. This one is It assumes that one event will automatically trigger a chain of increasingly negative consequences without providing evidence of those connections. In my mind, I call this one anxiety personified. A lot of what I've encountered in the real world has definitely been this fallacy. And I'm able to easily identify this one in real world scenarios now, which has definitely made me a better professional. I'm able to slow everything down and really navigate through those conversations a lot better. When I reflect on my growth this semester, I've definitely learned how to slow down, especially with things like hasty generalizations and slippery slope fallacy, and I've been able to identify appeals of authority, which has helped me separate someone's status from the proof. At the end of the day, all of this makes me a better person now and a better communicator. Trust but verify. All that to say, trust but verify.